In this video, I'm going to be breaking down all the different types of setting powders and exactly how to use them. There's so many different types of makeup powders out there, and it can get extremely confusing knowing how to use them and when to use them. There are typically two types of powders: loose powders and pressed powders. I usually like to think of it like this. So you have liquid eggs and you have hard-boiled eggs. Both of them are eggs, they just come in different forms. The exact same thing applies to powder. Loose powder and pressed powder may have the same purpose of setting your makeup, but they have slight differences in how they look and their application. So think of loose powder as fairy dust. It's finely milled and it's loose. It doesn't come in a compact. It's usually a little bit more lightweight, and it's usually good for setting the concealer to achieve an airbrush look. To apply the loose setting powder, first I take a powder puff and I dip it gently into the loose powder. I make sure to get just the right amount of powder on the puff, not too much and not too little. Next, I like to swirl the powder on the powder puff at the back of my hand. I do this so that the powder gets evenly distributed on the puff. Spreading it out like this helps to avoid any clumps or unevenness. When it comes to setting my concealer under my eyes, I take the powder puff and press it gently onto my skin. I make sure to cover the area where I applied the concealer. Pressing the puff helps the powder grasp onto the concealer to set it in place. It also helps to prevent any creasing. I find that I get a very flawless and even application of the loose powder using this technique. It helps my concealer set beautifully, giving me a smooth and airbrush finish. This way, my makeup can stay put all day long. So there are usually many types of loose powders out there. Translucent loose powder usually appears colorless on your skin because it's very sheer, but it can come in so many different skin tone shades. It's like a magic powder that helps to set your concealer without adding any color to your skin. It's great for all skin tones and gives your skin more of a natural finish. So some of my favorite translucent loose powders are the Laura Mercier translucent powder. These come in 3 different shades, so from fair all the way down to deep. So if you have deeper skin tones, then I would recommend getting the medium deep. The one that I use is in the shade Honey. Another great translucent powder is the Saie translucent powder. The shade that I use is medium, but these also come in so many different shades, so I would recommend getting one that describes your skin tone. Then you have banana loose powders. Surprisingly, they don't smell like bananas, but they usually have a yellow pigment that's perfect for achieving that trendy yellow under eye look. It helps to brighten up your skin. It also helps to correct dark circles along with your concealer to help brighten up your under eyes. One that I would recommend if you want a really bright under eye look is this Huda Beauty loose baking powder in the shade Blondie. This is perfect for medium to deeper skin tones to help brighten up your under eye area, giving your skin more of that awake look. But some people have textured skin or acne or wrinkles on their skin, so a finishing powder is a good alternative. It helps to smoothen out the appearance of your skin, giving it more of a polished look. This type of powder is usually very finely milled, making it the perfect powder for blurring out the imperfections on your skin. So 2 of my favorite finishing powders are the Black Opal finishing powder. This is my all-time favorite. It helps to give you a smooth under eye, especially if you have wrinkles or if you're breaking out and you have a little bit of texture around your cheeks. This helps to smoothen it out. But also a really good one is the Maybelline Fit Me loose finishing powder. Both of these products are loose powders, so you can use them to set your concealer. So when it comes to pressed powder, also known as compact powders, they're usually compacted in a pan. They also come in so many different types and they serve so many different purposes. So a mattifying pressed powder is used to give your foundation more of a matte finish. You can also use a lighter shade to set your concealer as well. I only like to focus this powder only on the areas where I applied foundation. So to apply this pressed powder to set your foundation, I suggest using a dense brush. So with dabbing and pat motion, gently apply the powder onto your skin. This will help to blend in your foundation, making sure that it stays put throughout the day. It helps to control any shine or oiliness that comes from the foundation, giving your skin more of that matte and natural appearance. So you can think of it as a magical veil that makes your makeup look flawless. So for pressed powder, my favorite is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop pressed powders. These come in so many different shades, so you want to find one that complements your exact skin color because you're going to be using it for your foundation. You can also go for a lighter color just to help set your concealer if you prefer using a pressed powder for concealer. It is very natural and very veil, so it's very similar to loose powder for concealer. Then we have finishing powder, which can also come in pressed form. It's designed for the same thing as the loose finishing powder, so it helps to blur out imperfections. So it's great for people with textured skin, acne, or wrinkles and fine lines. The pressed finishing powders are also very finely milled, so I like to use the powder puff and lightly dab it onto the powder, dust off the excess, and just press it under my eyes to help set the concealer. My favorite pressed finishing powder is the NYX HD finishing powder because it's an affordable one, but it gives you a really nice smooth under eyes. The shade that I use is the shade Banana because it helps to keep my under eyes bright. At the same time, it helps to get rid of textures from my pores right around my T-zone area. But we all have those moments where our skin tends to get a little bit shiny and oily throughout the day, especially if you have oily skin, and a loose powder that is called a blotting powder. This type of powder is usually white. One of my favorite blotting powders is the RMS Unpowder, so this is a loose blotting powder. I love this powder because it helps to snatch my skin all day long, so I don't build any oils, and my makeup just lasts so much longer with this powder. I do prefer the compact version because it won't spill in your purse. It's not going to be a mess. So this is why I have both the compact and the loose form. So the one that I would recommend is the Fenty Beauty Invisimatte Universal Blotting Powder. It's also a white powder, and to apply this, I like to use a fluffy brush, and I just focus on the areas where I want to mattify my skin. I don't like over applying the powder because it can wash out your face, so you want to only place a small amount and just lightly press it onto your skin. And avoid any areas of your skin that contain highlighter because it can take away from that. But it's also important for you to learn the difference between baking and not baking. That's why you have to watch this video, because I break down the difference between baking and not baking and which one is right for your skin.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'.